All right. So welcome to everyone who has come on. I'm going to just start with thank yous again. And just thank everyone for being here today. And also for Culture for the grant opportunity. This is my third for Culture grant. So I'm really excited and thankful for them for hearing, my pitch and believing in my project. So thank you for Culture. And yeah, let's see. All right, what is our agenda for today? All right, let's see. Is everyone able to see the agenda screen? Today's agenda is basically why the For Culture Project. We have our 9 amazing writers, and then we have 3 heritage facts. We have an open mic discussion at the end. So that is also where we can keep our questions. If you want to have the dialogue then. I know some people were saying that they would like to have a breakout session, but I really like to have the conversations where I'm also there to hear what everyone has to say. So I hope that's okay with everyone. I think I was present. Recording. All right, is everyone able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you. I apologize. I'm having these technical difficulties. All right, so. All right, so we are on the agenda screen. Is everyone able to see the agenda screen?
Yes.
Perfect. And that's just the kind of help I'm gonna need today. I can see it and I can feel it. So thank you all. So open discussion will go at the end, but once again, I am an organic presenter. So if you want to speak after each story, that would be awesome as well. All right, so why the project? Basically, my project started with just me being upset every year. I went natural in about 2018. And then I would just become very upset every year around September when there would be back to school. Normally if you're on Facebook or social media, the kids are going back to school and you see the pictures, you see their families, and then you see these stories in the headlines where you have kids crying because they were sent home from school because of their hair. That always just bothered me. And so I just kind of wanted to do something, do my part. And so I also wanted to know, because I know how I felt about my hair, but I also wanted to know how other women of color were feeling and girls were feeling about their hair. And so at the point that I pitched the idea for a Culture, I didn't think they were gonna accept the grant or accept the proposal, but they did. So then I was like, wow, okay, so this is worthy of exploring. And so I began to ask people what their hair story was. And some people, they were saying they don't have a hair story. They were kind of like, what do you mean? And other people would say, yes, I have a hair story. And they would be very excited about the opportunity. So I didn't know what I was going into. It also was during the pandemic. And that was kind of just hard to get hair stories, or so I thought. But I just became really relentless as much as I could because I wanted to have something where we could show and tell our story. And so I hope the book is able to do that. I'm getting a lot of good feedback about it, so I'm very thankful for that. A lot of people don't understand, what goes into being a Black woman, and also how our hair is policed a lot of times, and how we've internalized just having Black hair. All right. So that is why the project took place. All right, let me go back. All right. So I'm going to ask everyone to listen with the open heart. I have this trigger screen because when I was teaching in an alternative setting, I would always look for speakers to bring in to talk to the students. And I had many counselors tell me that I was triggering students, that bringing people in that look like them and telling their stories was a trigger. And I was thinking, really? I didn't know if that was true or not until I met a gentleman named Richard Gold, and he would go into the juvenile detention center and he would do poetry workshops. And he started in a I think psychiatric facility, and he started doing workshops with young people and having them write. And what he found that the therapist would tell him that the poetry activities actually help the students, help the young people in the facility, you know, with their behavior. So he said he was kind of, he just allowed me to see that it wasn't necessarily something that could trigger students for you know, worse outcomes. So today I just want to make sure that, you know, as we talk today and we share hair stories, that I don't want you to feel that I'm trying to target anyone. I mean, maybe you probably weren't alive when they put these policies in place. So I definitely want everyone to feel comfortable, and I want everyone to speak from your own personal lens. You know, when I talk to my students, I always say you have a lens of race, gender, age, religion, experiences. So you should speak from your own personal experience and not for someone else. I also feel that in our life, we have a backpack. We carry many things around with us, and those things can help and they can also hurt. So I just want everyone to listen with a open heart and an open mind. And this project actually came out of me being triggered because like I said, every September, I would see these stories and these headlines of young girls and boys who were being kicked out of schools, women possibly losing their jobs because of their hair. And that made me want to do something. So throughout the workshop, you are welcome to write, draw, doodle. You can definitely take notes, ask questions. Feel free to be creative during the workshop just to help you with any emotions that you might have. Right. Any questions? How we doing? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Y'all my co-host. Actually, all y'all helping me. So I appreciate it. So let's say I really love this quote, and I was saying this quote in a meeting the other day. Until the lions have their own historians, the history of the hunt will always glorify the hunter. And so this story, I think, is just helping a lot of people see what goes into, like I said before, being a Black woman and having Black hair, and the policing that also goes into it, or even the internalized pain or beliefs about, you know, our hair. All those things go into being a Black woman. I had a colleague telling me that she felt like when she read the book, it was a secret, like this was some type of secret she never knew anything about. And I was thinking, is the struggle some Black women have with their hair a secret, or is it then, you know, people aren't paying attention? So I really think this is a good book just to bring light to what is happening and how people really feel about their hair, women feel about their hair. All right, so we're ready to share stories. The first person we have up is Lois. So hold on, Lois, we're gonna see you. We got Lois, and then we're gonna have Dana. And then we're gonna have a video. So I have a young girl, Katie, and she lives in Tobago. So she's not here, but I'm gonna show her video. So Lois, you ready?
I am ready.
All right, you are up.
Okay. I am so glad to be here with this, and thank you so much for this opportunity. I describe myself as an educator and writer at this point in life. I've done so many other things. But anyway, just to save time, I want to get into this, but I want to tell you before I start reading is that I brought a whole collection of straightening combs, curling irons, and the whole thing that was used during that time. And nothing started until you had, some of you may know, Royal Crown hair wrap or something else, but this is an original. And as I'm reading, I'll just pick up some of these irons, you know,
speaking.
huh?
What the hell?
Can you hear me?
Oh,
Can you hear me?
that's a good thing.
Is everything okay?
No, it's not.
Oh, I'm gonna ask everyone to please be on mute. Please mute yourself. Thank you.
Okay, tell me when.
Sorry.
Oh, no problem. Thank you, though, but just mute yourself. Thank you. Okay, go ahead, Miss Lois.
Okay, so you can hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Miss Lois.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay, all right. So anyway, it was an art, folks. This is something that this is one curling iron. Look how skinny it is. But this is what they would use while they're smoking your hair and they were having such a good time. The really good ones would twirl it in the air and cool it. So I'm going to read, but I'll just keep picking them up and they will be going in graduated sizes because they did everything with the straightening comb. So here we go. One of the first chapters of my book, what it was like, childhood memories of segregation in America. Hair, the ritual, the Black woman's untold ordeal that freed hair for everyone. I bit my bottom lip as I tightly pressed the top flap of my ear down protectively to avoid a direct burn. I winced as the intense heat from the smoking hot, heavy black steel straightening comb approached the side of my face to straighten my bad hair. Sometimes the beautician would blow her breath to cool the side of my face as she approached my hair with the hot comb, but it was futile. Nothing could protect me from the intense heat of the hot comb, which had just been removed from direct contact with an open flame. Each time she removed the comb from the flame, she would wipe it on a piece of a cotton cloth before combing it through my hair, which she had parted into thin sections, each requiring her careful attention with the comb. If the comb scorched or burned the cloth, which when she removed it, it was caged too hot, hot enough to burn my hair. The problem was solved immediately by blowing on the hot comb and finalizing the ritual by giving it a hissing touch with her spit moistened finger, and she would continue artfully twirling the tufts of my hair around her finger in preparation for the next onslaught. I had to learn quickly at an early age how to hold my head right and to calmly allow the beautician to go through my hair with the hot comb, section by section. If I didn't hold my head right and got burned, it was always my fault. Never, ever, ever the beauticians. Sometimes you'd be admonished, you got to learn to hold your head right. It was a rite of passage for all little Black girls in America to learn how to hold their head right, which included mastering two very important positions: how to hold the ear and bending over far enough so that the beautician had access to the fine hairs that grew from the back of the neck. Holding the ear with the opposite side of your head resting awkwardly on your shoulder allowed the beautician unhindered access to all of the hair growing behind the ear. If you didn't take care to protect your ear by holding it down, you risk getting burned. The final torture came when you were asked to bow your head to the point of having your chin rest uncomfortably on your chest, exposing the vulnerable short hairs on your neck so they could be straightened. The area we euphemistically called the kitchen. When this occurred, you froze, not moving or flinching. The very worst reaction was to obey the natural instinct to move away from the heat and anticipated pain, to duck and dodge, even though a 32nd of an inch, any movement in this area, no matter how natural, invited a snap pain from a quick burn. Bracing, the tension in the air became animate. All conversation ceased when the beautician got to this part of the hair straightening ritual. Of all the steps to having my hair straightened, having my kitchen straightened was the most dreaded. A popular term for getting your hair straightened was getting your hair fried. And it was a true statement. As with frying anything, you must use oil and heat, and the heat has to be hot enough to melt oil. As with frying food, Black women experienced the closest equivalent to having their hair fried when getting their hair straightened. The oil, usually Royal Crown, Dixie Peach, or hair rep, was applied to the hair before adding the heat to the straightening comb, which resulted in a good, shiny, hard press. Sometimes the hot melting oil from the intense heat of the straightening comb would sizzle as it made direct contact with my scalp, and it would burn. The sign of having a good hard press was when the hair was so straight and stiff from the cooled oil that one could easily see your scalp as your hair hung in long straight spikes around your shoulders. The next phase was curling. Sometimes my hair would be so hot from the pressing and the straightening comb and pulling with the curling iron that I would have to sit for a while to allow it to cool before it could be curled. Having my hair curl with the curling iron was far less traumatic. It was the fun part of the whole process because I got the chance to focus on style, and the curling iron did not get as close to my scalp as a straightening iron. I don't recall ever getting burned by curling irons, except for those occasions when I felt an overzealous beautician determined the straightening comb didn't get my hair straight enough before the curling and would do what was known as getting one's hair pulled. This required that she go over each part of my already straightened hair with the curling iron, section by section, pulling my hair from the scalp to the end. Since I don't believe curling irons were originally designed for this purpose, the frequent close intimacy to my scalp almost always assured several burns. Black women were labeled tender-headed if they had difficulty getting their hair straightened. They would duck and dodge and weave like a prize fighter at each wave of the hot comb. It didn't matter. There was no sympathy for the tender-headed Black woman. They were referred to with annoyance by beauticians as it was unthinkable not to endure the process to keep the hair straightened. The tender-headed just had to get over it. The social pressure to maintain straightened hair far outweighed the pain associated with the visit to the local beautician. There were no exceptions. A Black woman walking outside with her natural hair, even in the Black community, would be shamed. It was unthinkable. No matter how straight our hair after this ritual, if it made contact with moisture of any kind, it went back to its natural state. Women who perspired through their scalps due to the close and intense heat had it worse because the heat of the iron would only exacerbate their condition, many times returning the hair to the original nappy state before the beautician could finish. The moisture from the sweating scalp sometimes created steam that burned the scalp as well. You risk a long-lasting sting if you attempted to straighten wet or moist hair. One beautician stands out in my mind because my sister and I would privately cry when we were scheduled for our beauty appointment with Ms. Tyler. As little girls, we felt we had no choice. She never quite dried our hair before applying the burning hot straightening comb to it. She was a divorced single mother rearing a small son and was extremely nervous, totally oblivious to the torture she carelessly inflicted on our young heads. Looking back, I think Mrs. Tyler needed the money to make ends meet and had just started a business without training or skills. We were children in the 3rd and 4th grades, and our mother sent us rather than took us to see Mrs. Tyler. We were about 8 and 9 years old. All we knew was that a visit with Mrs. Tyler, no matter how good her end result, represented torture to us. We accepted the fact that we just had to go through it. We had to have our hair straightened, and this was part of it. We could hear the hiss and see the smoke from the steam of our damp hair as we dug our nails into our palms with our tightly gripped fist, enduring the pain of the steam burn, praying it would end, even though each time it seemed to take forever. Luckily, our visits to Mrs. Tyler didn't last long. Our mother noticed several burn spots on our scalp shortly after a visit. We were overjoyed that we never had to go back to Mrs. Tyler again. We were too young to grasp the reality that before or after Mrs. Tyler, the process always remained the same, only a little more merciful. Regardless, Black girls and Black women shared the same experiences with straightening their hair. Nothing changed when you got older. It was not at all uncommon to put a warm comb through a toddler's hair when she was beginning to show her first growth of natural Black hair. thereby preparing her for a lifetime ritual. The expression would be, I think she's about ready for me to start running a warm comb through her hair. Black people divided their hair into two broad categories, good hair and bad hair. Black hair was considered good hair when it was at worst a tight wave, at best straight. Natural black hair was classified as bad hair and was considered nappy, frizzy, kinky, difficult, and sometimes painful to comb when dry, resulting in, at best, puffy frizz, if not straightened. We considered our natural hair an embarrassment, shameful, and a sign of an unkempt woman. Black women went to great lengths to hide their natural hair. The attitude about Black women's natural hair was shared among Black women as well as Black men. We considered our hair one of our least desirable physical traits. It made us stand out as different in a negative way, still a wild African. Straightening our hair made us more presentable and acceptable, less offensive, or so we thought. We shunned our natural hair, believing that to wear it that way was unthinkable, although we weren't more accepted by whites because of it. Maintaining straightened hair at all costs for Black women was one of our attempts to get as close as possible to the white standard of beauty, and we enjoyed attempting to imitate the hairstyles of white women. Black women's desire to appear presentable to the white culture resulted in a Black woman becoming the first self-made female millionaire in America, Madam C.J. Walker. And my treat for you today is that I have an over 100-year-old, can you see this? This is an original Madam C.J. Walker straightening comb, guys. It's done a lot of beauty. Okay, I wanted to show you that because it's significant that, you know, everybody's talking about, you know, all the hard times and how people are oppressed and all of those things, but we never mention people like Madam C.J. Walker, who became the first female self-made millionaire in America. And the thing about Madam C.J. Walker, her efforts as she described them, were not to straighten women's hair, but for Black women to take greater pride in their personal appearance and to give their hair proper attention. By addressing the hair needs of newly freed Black women, by 1911, she had built the largest Black manufacturing company in the world, Madam C.J. Walker Manufacturing Company in Indiana. Her business not only increased Black women's self-esteem by providing opportunities for employment, it expanded Black women's economic opportunities as well. They had job opportunities beyond sharecropping, washing clothes, and working as domestics for whites. She was a philanthropic for Black causes. For her death in 1919, she had over 15,000 employees. Like Black churches, the Black Beauty Shop was one of the centers of cultural exchange for information between Black women in the Black community. Getting their hair done usually took at least half a day and sometimes all day. We would sit for hours gossiping and sharing what we knew of the up-to-date news and the latest in style and music. Black women would congregate in mass, lined against the wall in various stages of getting their hair done. This was especially true on Saturdays, the busiest time. We were preparing for one of the most important events of the week in the Black community, attending church on Sunday. And I like to check in. I think I have a couple of things. Do you want me to continue? Because I know we have a specific amount of time. I just want to check in with the audience. Are y'all listening?
Yes, keep going.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's wonderful.
Oh,
Fun,
okay.
girl.
Okay, you know,
Snapping over
you
here.
know,
This is
sometimes you gotta
wonderful.
check in. You gotta check in, y'all. You know that, don't you? Yeah, okay, got it. Okay, so attending church on Sunday. Black beauty shops range from sitting at someone's kitchen stove to a shop with a row of washing sinks and upright hair dryers, though there were few of the latter. A good beauty shop had the latest Black magazines, ebony, jet, sepia, bronze thrills. We'd order from the local cafe and eat our meals at the beauty shop because the wait took so long to get our hair done. We didn't want to miss our turn. As with Black churches, one of the biggest complaints about Black beauticians was getting out on time. The torture I've been describing was a commonplace ritual for over 100 years for all Black women in America whose hair was naturally nappy or very tightly curled. We were most ashamed and embarrassed by our hair in its natural state. We went through torturous lengths to have our hair appear as close to a white woman's as possible, hiding who we really were. Black women before the 60s and the civil rights movement knew being beautiful began with straightened hair. All media, including all Black magazines, depicted only Black females with straight hair. It was our unquestioned standard of beauty. Our naturally nappy hair was something to be hidden and quickly remedied. New growth, sometimes referred to as edges, had to be quickly straightened when it occurred between appointments with your beautician. Every Black woman's household had at least one straightening comb. It was okay to tell a friend, girl, you are going to have to do something about those edges. It was accepted that your head would be sore for a few days after your head had been straightened, and you had to be wary if your comb hooking onto a scalp or two or three. Although Black women had been routinely straightening their hair since the late 19th century, earlier Black women who worked in the master's house during slavery would sometimes have to iron their hair to look presentable. My direct experience with this was during the 40s and 50s and early 60s in America, the era before Black is beautiful and before the Afro hairstyles, which represented the sudden change in attitudes and images of Blacks as a result of the civil rights movement. For the first time in America, it became okay to just be Black. It was not only okay to be Black, it became okay to show off your natural hair with pride. This resulted in the ubiquitous large afros of the 60s. Young Black women throughout the nation suddenly in droves began to display their natural hair for the first time without shame or embarrassment. Not only did we proudly display our natural hair, we wore it big, unmistakable, difficult to ignore. The bigger the fro, the better. Black men did the same. We proudly called our natural hair afros because our hair unmistakably displayed our African roots. We became united, presenting our true identity to America, not only to be something other than what we were. We all knew we came from Africa. We didn't know where in Africa, but our evidence was our hair and skin color. We couldn't change our skin color. We had done our best with our hair, and then it became okay. We owned ourselves. This was the first time in America that American standards of beauty included Black women. And most importantly, Blacks became more acceptance of standards of beauty for ourselves. The shame of our natural hair had affected generations of Black females who never learned to swim for fear of getting their hair wet, returning to the dreaded, embarrassing natural state as soon as it made contact with any moisture, including light humidity. I don't believe that other races of women have any idea of the lengths that Black women went to in order to straighten their hair, nor do they understand the significance of the impact of freedom resulting from the civil rights movement on our hair. The 60s gave us permission to accept all of ourselves, liberating Black women from pain and suppression of their hair. We had over 100 years of having to constantly suppress a natural part of ourselves, hating it. We accepted this part as part of what Black women must go through in order to look presentable and be accepted. We hid our natural hair at all costs. Some Black men, particularly entertainers, would straighten their hair, which was referred to as conking. They used chemicals such as lye instead of the torch of the hot comb, but most Black men wore their hair naturally. Black women had to develop new techniques for managing their hair in order to wear a fro. I never questioned why Black men freely wore their hair naturally, and Black women were ashamed of their natural hair and felt they couldn't. Almost. For Black women, our hair was the only thing that could change to appear to fit in. We started singing James Brown's song, "Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm proud." To other races, this may have seemed overbearing, but to Blacks, African Americans, in over 250 years in America, this was the first time in our history that it seemed okay to be Black. We didn't feel less than anymore and that whites were better than we were because of the way we looked. Black women stopped feeling the shame of their natural hair and showed their freedom and pride through their hair. We took it to heart. We allowed it to grow as large as possible. Black women as well as men. The Afro started with young Black women and soon progressed to older Black women who had at first criticized young Black women for doing it. The most positive outcome is that Black women in America evolved to the place of personal choice. A lot of young Black women today who have chosen to wear their hair naturally have no idea of what it was like to go through the full old-fashioned straightening process. We now have a choice. And most importantly, we all are accepted and no one cares. This is all true for white men. They were safe to wear long hair and ponytails, and they became hair liberated as well. The 1967 off-Broadway musical Hair attested to the popular liberation through hair of the 60s. Permission, and that's it. That's the whole thing. If you have any questions, it was my pleasure to do this. Most importantly, to make you aware of Madam C.J. Walker. And if you have questions, I'd be glad to take them.
Oh, Miss Lois, that was awesome. I don't have any
Oh,
questions, but I just want to thank you. So good to meet you. All right, anyone have any questions? Comments?
Here's my book.
Oh yeah, please show your book.
You can get it on Amazon.
And her book is also in her bio in the book as well, but it is on Amazon. So there you go. Will you hold it up a little higher? We can't see it.
Oh yeah, here you go.
Very beautiful. And thank you for, she let me use her whole chapter too. I asked her if I could use some of it. She was like, no, you got to use the whole thing. You got to use the
My
whole
pleasure.
chapter, honey. I said, yes, I will.
My pleasure, ladies. My pleasure.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we have Dana Brewer.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd just like to say that, Miss Lois, before I knew you had a book, I was just sitting here thinking, my mind was going, okay, we got to get Miss Lois with Henry Louis Gates, and you guys need to make a documentary on this hair story.
Ooh.
Okay,
I'm
see, there we go, sharing ideas.
I am so open to everything.
Absolutely.
If you
Well,
know,
thank you so
contact, let me
much.
know.
All right. That was a lesson. I could understand a lot of what you were talking about. The only difference is mine wasn't with the beautician, mine was with my beloved mother. But yes, all of that side tilting and ear, all of that. So I just want to thank Kiana for the opportunity really to participate in the project and to be able to share with all of you beautiful people out there who have joined. I want to go ahead and plug Kiana's book because she may not do it so much herself, but our stories are published in her book, Unyielding Roots. What is your hair story? And what I'm going to share with you today is found on page 143 of the book, but just a little bit of background. You know, we all have gone through some sort of a hair evolution. We all have a story. I just want to say that as a child, I hated with a passion getting my hair pressed, hated it. And I used to look at other people and I would admire their hair. Now, let me tell you, it wasn't because I had an issue with mine. It's just that I was unconcerned about my own hair. It didn't make me, it didn't really represent me. So it was neither here nor there. But really at a young age, I started to see a form of hair expression that I thought embodied who I was. And I knew as a child, when I get of age, this is the way I'm going to wear my hair. A man who made it very popular years ago was Bob Marley. So, you know, I wasn't loving Bob Marley because his hair or the religion that he was representing with it, but it was the strength of his hair itself. And I really did vow one day to wear my hair as a crown, the way that he wore his. And also what contributes to my hair esteem, if you will, is that I grew up on stories of how my great-grandfather on my mother's side had his hair as a Native American was very long down below his buttocks. And I remember listening with fondness about that. Looking at some of my beautiful cousins with their very long, very luxurious hair and remembering about my own self, I kind of just wanted to wear mine in a ponytail. That's kind of who I am. And even to this day, my hair is quite often in a ponytail. So with that as the background, I would like to share with you today something that I wrote as a contribution to this project. And again, I'm very privileged and pleased that Kiana asked me. And the title of my piece is called the main, M-A-N-E, event, the main event. And at the beginning of the meeting, we heard India Ari singing, I Am Not My Hair. And we all loved that song. So with that, I give you the main event. I am my hair. My hair is me. Long, nappy, fierce, God-given and regal. It is mine. Don't you dare speak on it. Speak on this mane that fiercely guards the secrets of my people. My hair pays homage to warriors and queens. It will not be tamed. It will not succumb to the heat of society. It will not conform. My hair has traveled the world with me, and it stood up to scrutiny. Is that really your hair? You know, I thought Black people couldn't grow hair. Can I touch it? Really? My hair has fought to survive these 20 years, strand wrapping around strand, each one reaching one, making it stronger than the sum of its parts. My hair is a crown that sits atop a head that God made. A beautifully adorned head that thinks, feels, sways, and moves. They tell me it isn't cute. It makes some feel ashamed. It puts me with the wrong crowd. Well, it makes me proud. So I am my hair. My hair is me. It is mine. That's it. Thank you for allowing me to share.
Oh, nice, beautiful. I wish I had a clap button. I would clap for all y'all. All right, awesome. Do anyone have any questions or concerns? I mean, not concerns, but questions or comments. Sorry.
Great job, Dana. Thank you.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you, Miss Vicky.
All right, thank you so much, Dana. I love Dana's like my big sister. Dana is my big sister, so thank you. I'm so happy she got in this project. Some people didn't have a choice, by the way. Some people was gonna be in this book no matter what. So I just want to thank the people who were in the book because I was just pestering people all day. So I appreciate you all. All right, next we're gonna have Janet. Janet's gonna share. Then we're gonna have a raffle, and then we're gonna have a video from KD. So Janet, are you ready?
Yes, but it's Janae.
Oh, Janet. Okay.
It's okay. So first, before I read my
Apologies.
no, you're fine. Let me thank you for the platform and inviting me to be amongst my sisters. I have been close to tears reading the stories, especially when I read Miss Lois, because that mirrored mine. I had like super 4C hair. And so when I was growing up, there was a time my mother was trying to put 2 braids in my hair before school and she sprained her finger. You know, I've broken teeth out of combs and my perms would only last for 4 weeks and some of them wouldn't even straighten it all the way. And I was sweating the hair back when she get to the other side, the one side already be drawn back up. And my childhood, it was just this pervasive idea that it was something wrong with me because it was something wrong with my hair and there was nothing I could do to change it. So this has been a great source of validation for me and vindication, and I'm just so thankful for you guys. My story is on page 184, and let me thank you, Kiana, because this is my first time in print. I am a poet and I have a book out next year, but this is my first published writing, so you're just gonna always have a special place in my heart, so I'm so grateful for this. But on 184, it's Family Locks. It seems eons ago now, but looking back to the fall of 1994 and my freshman year at Howard University stirs up a plethora of emotions. Unbeknownst to me at the time, I would only complete 1 semester at the Mecca, but that illustrious HBCU left numerous indelible impressions on that then 18-year-old wide-eyed babe. It was then, specifically in December of that year, that I decided I would no longer torture myself with caustic chemicals that every month left scars on my scalp as well as my psyche. My brief stint within Howard's hallowed halls, especially my dorm, seemed to me a trek into alien territory. Not only did I witness beautiful men and women in every hue of brown, from the creamiest ivory to the smoothest Vanta black, but for the first time in my life, I beheld the widest array of natural hairstyles. Here, one sister sported locks like fuzzy antennas sprouting in every direction, and there, a militant buzz cut with stylish designs waving at me as its owner strode past. So much variety stirred up questions within me, the foremost of which became, why do I perm my hair? Quickly and without warning, my subconscious replied, to be presentable. I was shocked and disgusted by the revelation. I was also empowered. As that last shred of permed hair broke and came off, I felt freer than I ever had, and I've never looked back. Almost 20 years later, I still sport locks, and my whole family as well. People ask, what prompted your decision to lock your children's hair? I answer, my eldest son asked for locks when he was around 3 years old because his father and I both had locks then. I have since both cut and restarted my locks. When I decided to begin a new set of locks, my daughters requested them also. Their hair was thick and hard to comb, so there was lots of crying, pleading, bargaining, and flared frustrations whenever it was hair night. And y'all, it was hair night up in here last night, and I'm telling you, it doesn't get any easier. So locks seemed an attractive solution. No more combs, no pulling on the hair, a win-win for us all. When I started my son's locks, they were 3 and 4 years old. My daughters were 4 and 6 years old, respectively. I have asked numerous natural hair locticians, and they do not recommend locks for children under the age of 3 years old. A child's hair goes through many stages before it settles into the permanent texture that the child will have during its lifetime. Immature hair, which usually sheds easily, can break off from the weight of the locks. My immediate family's responses, save for my very traditional mother-in-law, were positive and heartening. My younger nieces love styling my daughter's hair, while my siblings showered both of my daughters with encouraging affirmations. I know in mainstream vernacular, my chosen mode of follicular expression is referred to as dreadlocks. I find that term to be a regrettable misnomer because firstly, there is nothing dreadful about my magical tresses. Secondly, ironically, my locks actually have been the source of my freedom. Freedom to be me as God made. Freedom to acknowledge and own my culture. The freedom to embrace my kinks and view what I had mistakenly believed to be a flaw into a most glorious asset. My locks have set me free. So on 187, I did a poem, Ode to My Locks. Locks, licorice hued keratin ropes. At first, new growths yawn and stretch, crest of my hopes, tickling the basement floor of the sky. Follicular record of blessings, trials, repository of elixir of me. Kinky, twisty vials, skimming my ears, brimming mine eyes. Time moves as the crow flies. Now my wondrous locks play about my shoulders, wet after washing. They make the cold seem colder. I call them mine, but they're more like a conjoined twin. Somewhere where I stop, they seem to begin. What was I doing when this crook formed? Was it after I had delightfully laughed or sorrowfully mourned? Holding my baby girl's hand mayhap, or aligned my breaths with hers as she napped in my lap. Locks, I don't dread you. I never will. A mystery funneling from my scalp, visible DNA spill. Eager fingers search through. Stray tendrils catch on nails, so patiently I must go. Strands caress palms as we explore one another. In time we both grow. My locks are open links in a closed chain, binding me to ancestors unnamed. They are reins that bid me to move, or spiky crown which daily festoons. So far I've birthed 2 sets, now just stating my third. Who would have thought wound bound hair could make one feel free as a bird? Indeed, my many locks are my defiant manifesto, proclaiming, no, declaring, this is who I am. I will be as God made me, not defined by any man. On a day years ago, I parted my locks, dangling as willow branches obstructing my view to see. Surprised beyond tallying, there in the mirror, a first glimpse of she who is truly me. So thank you guys so much for the platform, for being able to express myself. I was just writing down some thoughts, when I was saying getting the perms and, breaking the teeth out of combs. Every time I would go to, my mom would take me to a hair salon to get a perm, they would put one hand in it and say, oh, no, $5 extra, $10 extra. And we would have to sneak to another place the next month because my hair was too thick. Nobody wanted to do it. And I just had so many people tell me that it was, make it seem like it was my fault. So it was just hard to deal with. And now my children being natural, my youngest daughter, my mother-in-law will look at her and she said certain things. I wish you would do your hair. And I'm like, no, she's beautiful. She's beautiful. But my mother-in-law's hair is natural too. So it makes me wonder what she thinks of herself and just the things that were put on her that she still has to come out of, So it's been a journey, but I also love that it's something like all of us here, it's brought us all together. You see a sister in Walmart and you know what she's going through. You see them, all of us studying the hair products and you know what everybody's going through. So you just have this unspoken sisterhood that has been born out of the labor of love that we have with our hair. So I'm just really thankful for it. I've been telling everybody to get it, black, white, brown, even if they're not, because I want people also to understand what we go through just being us. So again, thank you guys. Miss Lois, it was wonderful hearing you read it. I was almost in tears reading your story because it just mirrored my own. I could hear the hot comb when I was reading it, honey. I could hear it. I could smell the grease and everything. So thank y'all.
I just want to say one thing, and this is to all Black women, that Madam C.J. Walker's straightening comb was given to me by my 96-year-old aunt, who had to go to Arkansas and Camden in the country to find one. What has happened since we've started the perm, giving ourselves perm? These straightening combs have disappeared. There used to be at least 2 or 3 in a family. Everybody had one, no more. So I just want to say that. Great, thank you.
All right, awesome. This is so nice. I'm about to cry, everybody, because I was crying reading the book as well. So thank you all, Lois, Dana, Janae. I got that. I like that. I was okay. I had the teeth threw me off. Okay, Janae, I got you. Awesome. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna have, I think Katie is here, but she is, one second. She did share her video, so I'm gonna go ahead and play it. And then we're gonna have a raffle. So hold on. All right, so we've had Miss Lois. Does anyone have any questions or comments while I am getting back up? Anyone want to share any hair stories?
Just proud of you, little sis, for creating the forum and giving us all the opportunity.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay, here we go. Oh, I gave the answer. Horrible person. Horrible. I love Canvas, everybody, but I don't like their interface right here. But that's okay. We're gonna keep on going. All right, so we got the hair stories going. Thank you all. I think the technical difficulties, I think my internet is a little bit unstable. So I do apologize for that. But we're gonna keep on going. Let me try to get to this next slide. Thank you, Dana. And then here is the video for Katie Alexis. Her poem is on page, I don't know if you can see the video. Let me know if are you all able to see the video or did I freeze?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. This video might be a little bit choppy. Kalia, if you could put the link in the, oh, Miss Sandra says she has 3 pressing combs. Oh, I want one. So we are going to watch the video. It might be a little bit choppy, but her poem is on page 116. She is here watching, so she might read it live for us. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and play it. Bear with the internet, but here we go.
My hair journey. As a little girl, I had very short hair, but my grandma knitted with loving care. She gently held on to every bit. Her fingers like needles, my hair was crocheted. And when she was done, it was a masterpiece on display. I didn't always like my hair. It was short and coily. I couldn't put it in a pony. But weekly, we would wash it and clean it. Slowly, we developed a routine. And my hair grew on me literally. Grandma's gone now. Mommy had to learn to cornrow. Some days I rocked and some days I rocked a fro or wash and go. And thank God for two-strand twists. It was a staple in our home. I love my hair. Even though it's still short, my grandma used to say it's my crown. I wear it proud. My hair doesn't make me pretty. I was pretty all along.
Is everyone able to hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Yes.
All right, awesome. I think everyone can hear me now.
No hearing.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so okay, perfect. I was having some technical difficulty. So this is definitely true. And marital status was one of the things I thought was really amazing about this fact about our hair, is that you could tell if someone was single or married. So I thought that was pretty clever. I will be raffling off this book, and this is my first book. It's called Digging for Roots. And it's about my experience growing up in a low-income community in North Richmond, California, and I didn't know my history. And that really bothered me as a child, but the main thing that bothered me was that I would want a black doll. My mom can attest to this. I think she's on here. She would take me shopping, and I thought the doll was me. I thought this little plastic doll was me on the shelf. And when she would take me to the store and the doll wouldn't be there, I would get really sad because I thought I was invisible. So I was thinking, if I'm not on the shelf, where am I? So as a little girl, about 4, maybe 5 years old, I started watching the world around me for identity. I started looking for myself everywhere. And so that's what this book is about. And I'm gonna raffle that off today. And then now we're gonna get ready for our next speaker. We are gonna go to, actually, Taylor, are you ready? We're gonna come back to Darcel just because of the internet. But Taylor, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, awesome. I'm gonna stop sharing.
All right, hold on a second.
All right,
Hey,
thank you, Taylor.
yeah, of course. Hey, everybody. I'm Taylor. She, they pronouns. And I first want to say thank you, Kiana, for having this project, having this space. And y'all are some amazing writers. Like, I've been started reading the book and I've constantly had to take breaks just to process, because I feel so seen. And I'm very grateful to have a space in which we can all feel seen and we can all be heard, because we live in a society where we're not. So thank you so much, Kiana, for cultivating this space and this community. And I'm just so excited to be able to be here today and read to y'all. So my work is on page 56. And ironically enough, 56 is actually one of my favorite numbers. So I'm like, wow, look at that divine timing, right? So this is called My Roots. This ain't another poem about Black pain, because if it's one thing I'm tired of, I'm so tired of just Black pain. I'm tired of it always being portrayed in the media, because we are so much more than our pain. We are so much more than what we have been through and what our ancestors have been through. We have individual stories, we have depth, there's just so much to us. We're so multifaceted as Black folks. And so I wanted to use this poem as a space to show my pride. So here we go. Thank y'all. So this ain't another poem about Black pain. It's about my kinky coils and my luscious locks, the way my hair shape shifts and twists and bends, but never breaks. Resilient, like my people. This ain't another poem about Black pain. It's about my choice. A stream of straight strands washing down my back, or pillowy puffs on either side of my head, or braids tighter than our coveted community. This ain't another poem about Black pain. Like my coils, you think I shrink when dampened, but my thick thatch is porous and soaking up my tears and muffling my cries and silencing your hate. And but wait, this ain't another poem about Black pain. It's about my roots. Greasy and glossy and shea butter saturated and fragrant and free. My roots burrowing deeper, my roots swelling and spreading, and no matter how many times you try to weed my roots, my roots, my roots, my roots germinate My roots cultivate, my roots proliferate, my roots pullulate, my tresses vegetate, my people propagate. Thank you. And just a little background about myself. I am an artist, a writer, a teaching artist. So I've been working a lot with the youth in the South Seattle area. I'm originally from Detroit, so Detroit born and raised. Thank y'all so much for hearing me out and just holding this space again. And I'm gonna also put my website into the chat because I do like a lot of youth events and just other like Black healing events, working with Nurturing Roots, a Black owned farm in the South End. So I'm just ready to develop more community and to invite y'all to spaces where we can be Black and we can be free and we can heal and we can laugh and shout and scream and all these things. So thank y'all so much. My website is in the chat, and thank you, Kiana, for this opportunity.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you snapping. All right, I'm snapping for everybody. All right. Anyone have any comments or questions, thoughts right now? Okay, awesome. I'm gonna go back to the presentation. I'm not gonna show any more videos because of my internet connection. Let's see. Darcel, who's also from Tobago, would have been next. And we're just gonna put her link in the chat so if you can watch it later. There we go. And then the next one, we have Taylor. Thank you, Taylor. That was beautiful. And then we are going to put Amani, her link in the chat as well. And their poems are on. So Darcel's poem is on page 61. You can read it. I also made a poster for her as well. And then we have Amani, whose poem is on page 151. Amani, are you here? I'm not sure she was able to get on. And then we have another trivia question. If everyone could mute themselves, that would be great. Can we all see the screen? Is it showing up? All right. So the trivia question, the Black Fist Afro comb. So in response to the racial politics of the time, the first fist comb with a handle shaped like the Black Power salute was patented in which year? And you can put your answers in the chat box, or you can open your mic and call it out. Okay, I got A. A, okay.
Why so? Because you, when you're talking about email.
Please mute your mics, please.
All right, so let me just mute some. I'm sorry. Let's see. We got 1969, 1959, and then I think it was let's say 1979. Mostly everyone has said the correct answer. It was definitely 1959. Oh, you have a poem? Jenna says she has a poem. Okay, maybe you can share that at the end if you want. Janae, I'm sorry, because it looks like Janet. I'm sorry, I'm bad with names. All right, so if you want to share that poem at the end, that would be awesome. All right, we're gonna keep on going. So 1969 is when the comb was invented. The next poet, the writer that we have coming up, let's see. Okay, let me turn on my camera. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to raffle off this book next. This book is actually a book I also was able to complete with For Culture. And For Culture, let me plug For Culture. For Culture is an awesome organization, and they give community grants to writers and artists. So Taylor, I'm not sure if you heard about For Culture, anyone else that lives in this area. Taylor, have you heard of For Culture?
I have heard of For Culture, and I've actually received a For Culture grant before. So they are really dope with lots of, oh yes, thank you to whoever,
Thank you, Mark.
Mark, for putting the chat or putting into the chat. But yeah, For Culture is really dope. And they also provide a lot of resources in regards to having you do like a one-on-one meeting with someone and they actually like look through your grant application for you. They give you feedback. So they provide all the tools and resources that you need. And also I'm a grant writer too. So feel free to hit me up on my website if you need any tips, any editing help, because I definitely want us to be able to get more money, get paid, get that bread so we can continue to do the awesome work that we do and not have to worry about, bills. We want to be able to create art. So thank you, Kiana.
So I'm gonna email you myself.
All right, say less.
All right, so we do have another video, and I'm gonna have Kalia, my niece, put that in the chat as well. Now this video is for London Homes. I wish I could show all the videos. I just don't want to get kicked out. So I'm just in my internet connection. But her poem or her hair story actually is on page 66 of the book. You can check it out, and we'll have the link in the chat where you can watch it. But just London Homes is she has her own airplane. I think she has her own airplane. She flies planes. She has a website called Fearless Saviors, fearless aviators.com. And she has a lot of accomplishments. Amazing young girl. And I believe she just started college. And I cannot recall where, but
Kiana.
Yes, is she her mama?
Yeah, Sherry.
Go ahead, Sherry.
So no, she doesn't have her own airplane. She
Her
does
own
have
airplane. I feel like she has her own airplane. I'm giving her own
yeah, that would be
airplane
really
today.
nice. No, she just has her private pilot license, and
That was it. Okay.
yeah, and her own organization, Fearless Aviators, where she flies young girls. But right now, she's at the Air Force Academy.
That's right. Okay, tell her I was giving her own plane.
Yeah.
Okay, and let her know I wasn't able to share the video, but
Are you able to share your screen? Because I have the video up.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's see. I will.
But if not, you can just place it in the link.
Okay, you can make me back the host again now. Okay. Sherry.
Oh.
Don't try to steal the host.
Oh.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and move it over to you right now.
Okay. Let's see. One second here.
You got the floor.
Okay, go ahead and talk a little bit more. Give me 1 second here.
Okay. Beautiful story. I really like. I don't want to give it away because I'm one of those people when you watch a movie with me, I'm trying to give some stuff away. But I love how she starts the video. And this is actually I work with her mom Sherry, and she told me about her daughter, and I wanted my niece daughter to go up fly with her, but the pandemic happened, so we weren't able to do it. But I love how she starts her video off and her story off in general about what we see.
Okay, so can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so hopefully it'll work.
Did you use sound first? Did you go to the sound before you share at the bottom? Sound?
Let's see.
So
can you hear it?
Eyes and imagine the most beautiful girl standing on the beach, observing the sunset. What does she look like to you? Does she have a beautiful smile? What color are her eyes? Is her hair flowing in the wind? I cannot tell you exactly what you have imagined in your mind, but I am certain about one feature about her. She has either straight or wavy hair. I imagine only a very small % of listeners imagine a girl with thick, curly hair. Why is this, and what does this have to do with anything? Growing up in a world that values Eurocentric features, it was hard for me to feel comfortable with aspects of myself, particularly with my hair. This part of me did not fit in the category of beauty in America. There are common stereotypes about the hair of Black girls that haunt our mindsets about ourselves. Subtle comments made by people stating that it's nappy, hard to manage, and undesirable. Hearing comments like these diminished my self-confidence, and I've felt the need to straighten my hair, especially during my high school years. Coils or curly hair being seen as an undesirable feature is implanted in almost all aspects of our society. A simple search on Google Images of unprofessional hairstyles, and the results are beautiful Black women with many types of hairstyles, including buns, braids, and their natural curly hair. What about our natural hair is unprofessional? Why should we have to conform to the universal views of beauty in order to be considered for a job or fit into a school's guidelines? Even in entertainment, It is common to see in movies, magazine campaigns, and TV shows where young women were only seen as desirable and beautiful after their hair was straightened. Young Black girls, including myself, are often indoctrinated with the idea that we are beautiful when our hair matches of our friends who have straight hair or wavy hair. And despite the parents of Black girls telling us that our hair is beautiful the way it is, the social standards of beauty were set outside of our gates. So when did things change for me? I was influenced through social media by girls who have a similar hair texture as me. It was my first time truly seeing girls with the same type of hair and a positive outlook with so many people supporting it in the comment section on outlets like Instagram or TikTok. I felt inclined to giving my natural curls a chance during my senior year of high school. Many people would not think that wearing their natural hair down is a big deal, but for me it was everything. It was terrifying. I was nervous I would face judgment through stares and comments, or go through the typical experience of people uninvitingly petting my hair while making odd comments. Fortunately, I was faced with smiles and compliments when I began wearing my hair down, and felt supported through my friends and family. Now I love my curls and would not change them for the world. They make me who I am, and I am grateful to myself that I was bold enough and took steps towards self-love for my hair. On this road to accepting this part of myself, I've learned that I truly appreciate my hair for all that it is. Beauty is not subject to one certain look, but in the diversity of styles and looks that humans have, and it is important to embrace and appreciate these differences. I know that there are so many girls who feel uncomfortable with their hair now. So when I think about wearing my hair down, I not only wear it for myself, but for all of the girls who feel that their hair is not beautiful.
Beautiful.
I'm gonna put this back into yours if I can. Let's see. Share screen.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. That was awesome and beautiful.
Are you able to take back the screen?
You have to give it to me. You have to go to participants where you see my name.
Okay.
And then make me host.
Kiana Moore, ask the video, make host. Do you want to change host to Davis? Yes. Okay, there you go. You got it?
Yes. Thank you.
Perfect.
Okay. I have some people in the waiting room, so I told them they had to wait because I had to give away my host controls. Okay.
My bad.
No, that was fine. Thank you. Okay, because I don't know what's going on with my internet, but we gonna keep on going. So I so appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, next. Now, is Miss Cook here, LaShonda? Is LaShonda here? So how did I meet LaShonda? She's not here. I don't think I see her on, but her poem is on page 59. Her story is called My Lots, My Garden. Now, I met LaShonda Googling about natural hair and something else. I don't remember, but I found a website that talked about her. She had an art exhibit in Texas, and she had done some type of art around natural hair because her grandmother was a hairstylist. Her grandma had a salon. So I was like, who is this young lady that has done all this artwork, paintings? So I Googled her and found her on Facebook. I sent her a message and I was like, can you please, I told her about my project, and I asked her to be in the book, and she was like, I don't have a hair story. I was like, you don't have a hair story? Didn't you do an exhibit for your grandma's salon? And she was like, oh yeah, I do have a hair story. So I'm so happy with LaShonda. I just met her out of the blue and she joined the project. So I wish she was here today. She has a beautiful poem. And once again, that poem is on page 59. Next we have, Leilani, are you still here? You ready? My good sister, I'm going to show this flyer I made for her because she is a fitness instructor. So I hope she's able to talk about, I hope she's here to talk about, and there's LaShonda's, if you're able to see that flyer I made for her. And then here is Leilani Farr. She has a piece about to sweat out this flat iron or not. She is a fitness instructor here in Seattle. And she wrote about, working out and still having natural hair. Is Leilani here?
I'm here.
All right. Let me stop.
Hi, everybody.
All right.
I'm actually in here twice because I joined on my phone and then I joined through my computer.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you to close one of them out.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So one thing I am gonna do, this is a little different, or I shouldn't say different, but what I would ask, since some of us have been sitting for such a long time in the car or at home, if you can possibly get up and raise your hands up to the sky. Let's take a good stretch. Stretch our bodies. Yes. Yes. If you can't get up, do that. Yes. Awesome. So I will start off by saying I don't consider myself to be a professional writer, poetry writer, anything like that. I was lovingly coerced into participating in the book, and I'm not against it, but I'm just letting you guys know. I know somebody said, "Oh, this platform has all these wonderful writers." You know, I like to use it to convey my feelings. Don't get me wrong, but I am not a professional by any means. Like Kiana said, I am a dance fitness instructor. That's kind of like my side gig that when I retire will hopefully become my main gig. I teach dance fitness locally in Seattle, where I live. And I also am a chair fitness instructor. That's a new platform that I took on during COVID times. So there are some blessings, I would say, during COVID, and that is one of them. I took on chair fitness, which I provide to currently. Can you guys hear me?
But it's hard with COVID, everybody's,
Oh, because I can hear somebody else.
Please mute if you're talking and you're not like sharing.
Oh.
Somebody's talking. Miss Deetra, I think you're unmuted.
Okay, go
There
ahead.
we go.
You're good. Don't worry.
She's out there in the store doing some things. I hear you. That's what you got to do, multitask nowadays. Okay, so here we go. And I will say about this is kind of a lighthearted collection of words about, you know, what I feel about my hair personally. I don't want anybody to get offended by it or, you know, take it in any kind of way, but this is just expressing some things about me. And my pieces on, one of my pieces, this one that I'm speaking on is on page 94. So here we go. To sweat out this flat iron or not. To sweat out this flat iron or not to sweat out this flat iron. That is the question. Those burpees, star jumps, oblique twists, all have my name on them. There is just one thing that is stopping me from being great. My hair. Don't get me wrong. I would not trade my crown of coils for anything. But this flat iron has my coils living their best life via shakeable, bouncy waves that can be tossed over my shoulder with the greatest of ease. So the words keep rolling around in my head. To sweat out this flat iron or not to sweat out this flat iron. I could have had some cute little box braids or micro singles with golden honey highlights, but no. I wanted to feel the swish of my hair along my neckline, the cute way I can sweep it behind my ear when I'm concentrating, or throw my baseball cap on and head out the door. I also want to do some cardio kickboxing or maybe some bar hit with a little 30-minute yoga flow at the end. But guess what I have to consider first? Well, I decided that this fitness journey that I am on is one so much more than having to stress about these tresses. I'm going to embark upon some protective styles and get this good trap cardio in, and who knows what else. So sweat, I'm ready for you. So I've gone through a lot of hairstyles in my lifetime, and I've come to a place in my life that I feel like fitness is very important to me. It's an intricate part of my life, especially, once again, during COVID times. It has brought me a lot of emotional, I'm gonna get a little teary about it, but it's brought me joy. It's got me through a lot of stuff. And If I didn't have it, you know, I don't know where I'd be. So I choose, me personally, I got braids in my hair. I do have a baseball cap on, but I have braids in my hair. I choose to do protective styles. I'm not gonna be the one going around flat ironing my hair, doing that all the time. It's just too much drama. I don't have time for it. I wanna get up, get my workout in, teach my classes, work. I have a full-time job. I have a grandson. I have 20-something, and a 30-something-year-old daughters. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot going on and a husband. So that works for me. Now I do have a fitness sister instructor that has natural hair and she flat irons her hair. Gorgeous. She teaches, gorgeous. It works for her. It doesn't work for me. So what I would try to convey to everyone is don't let your, I don't want to say vanity, but your hair get in the way of your mind, body, and soul. You know, your physical health. It's really important. So, you know, look out there. Don't limit yourself by one hairstyle or what you think, you know, society wants you to do. Do it for you. Do it for your body and your mind. That's all I gotta say. Thank you, guys. Oh, and I do teach classes. If you guys are interested, I do teach classes. I teach them via Zoom, and I have actually an indoor class. It was an outdoor class that moved indoors. So if you're interested in that, I'll put that in the chat too. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Hold on one second. All right. Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
I'm glad I've inspired you, Sean.
Hey, Leilani, enjoyed your piece.
Who is that?
This is Kalinda. You can always run with me and Dana.
Oh yeah, Kalinda. Now Kalinda is another fitness, you know, Kalinda, I know you get it in. You don't let that hair weigh you down. I like that.
So we have a race coming up January. We're doing the 15K.
You hear this?
Hot chocolate.
She already got me signed up for something. Oh, I got to do it. I got to get to it.
All right, bye-bye.
Kiana, where are you at? I could start a chair fitness class now if you need me to. I can fill in some time. I see her face, but I don't hear her talking.
I might need you.
Oh, there she goes.
My recording is messed up. Okay. Can everyone hear me? I might have to log out and log back in.
Your mic is a little bit like in and out.
Yes. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, everyone, my mic is really bad. I'm gonna make Dana, I'm gonna make Kalia the host, and then you guys can start talking. I will be back. So here's the next trivia question. I'll be right back.
All right, gotta love that trivia. So I'm gonna jump in, little sis, and just ask the question here. So it's Black heritage. So true or false? 80% of Black women have said, I have to change my hair from its natural state to fit in at the office. We just need a little bit of that Jeopardy music. Do, 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 do. All right. So what do you think? Okay, we're starting to get some responses coming in. Thank you for participating. And the responses are coming in hot now. Quite a few people are responding. True. So if you can hear us, Kiana, if you advance to the answer, we can talk about that. All right, so while Kiana's trying to get that together, I think the answer is true. I haven't seen a false at all. Would anybody like to, if anyone has had that experience, would you like to go ahead and tell briefly your experience in the office where you felt you had